YouTube, it's me again, and today we're gonna do something a little bit different. Instead of normal computer stuff today, or electronics, we're gonna talk about stoves. Specifically, camping stoves. Got an MSR one here, and a little Coleman one. And well, these stoves represent a wide variety of what I have available. I'm gonna start by just giving you an overview of the different stoves. So I will pause the video and be back in a minute. Okay, so the first stove I'm gonna talk about is this one. It's a Coleman made. Sorry, I don't have the box to show you. It's a solid fuel stove, relatively inexpensive. The fuel burns okay. It works. It's not the fastest stove that I've had. Not the best stove either. But it works and it stands up. As you can see, it is kind of rusty. All these stoves I'm showing you I've put through very, very harsh treatment and stuff. Not specifically to test them, just because I have. Which is not particularly good, but it's good to see that they actually stand up. Which is good. This one has been sat out inside in the weather for 2-3 weeks. Maybe even as much as a month, I forget. But let's say 2 to 3 weeks, just for the sake of saying that. And, well, you can kind of see it rocks. Yes, it is thin metal, and after the first time after the first time using it, it warps. It's just something that happens. When you put a heavy pot or something on it, it sits flat. Not much of an issue. But what's really cool about it is, hold on just a minute, pause the video so I can open the stove. Well, like I was saying, the best thing about the stove is it opens. And there's a big, when it closes, there's a big, almost an inch of space in it, which allows you to store fuel. So, if you needed to, you could just bring this out to the woods with you. As you can see, one bad thing, this is the ash that's left behind of the solid fuel after it burnt. It's not that good, but it's ash. I just toss it away. Probably not the best thing in the world, but it's okay. And I'll show you a fuel that it uses. It uses these pellets. Now, these pellets can't get wet. If they get wet, they crystallize, and they just leave more soot and stuff. But they are good. They burn reasonably well. I should have a lot more, but I'm running low, so I'll have to buy them. It's like a couple bucks at the camping section in a hardware store around where I live. It's a small business. It's a small business, not Home Depot, not Lowe's. I don't know where you would find them, if at all, in those stores. You might be able to, don't know. So, yeah. But, it also, this stove has two things. So you can bend it in like that to hold smaller pots, which is nice. But my pots are big, so I use it like that. No, hold on. Like that. So, now that I've given you an overview of this stove, I will pause the video again and get out the next stove that I have and give you an overview of that. So, stay tuned. This is the second type of stove I'm going to talk about. This is an alcohol burning stove. This is the one that I have. This, like all the stoves that I'm showing you, is made by many different brands, comes in many different styles. So, these are the ones that I have, but you can find out other brands that may be cheaper, may be more expensive than this, may be higher quality, may be less of a high quality. Fuels may be cheaper, fuels may be more expensive, I don't know. So, I'm just gonna say that now. You can find these stoves made by many different brands. So, with that, let's get to the overview. This is the actual burner. Now, I call it a burner. I do call it a burner. That's because this is the part that burns, that creates the flame. It does not hold the pot. For that, you have to put it in the pot stand, like this. This one I got off of eBay for just over 13 bucks with free shipping. I did actually bid in an auction for this. What I did was I just put in 15 bucks, which is what these usually go for on eBay, into it, eBay as my max bid, and I just left it, as I got about it. And a week later, I got an email from eBay saying I had won the auction at $13.20 something, I think it was. Which is nice. I got it for a few bucks less than what I would have spent for it anyway. I know for $14.99 on Amazon, I could have got an actual Trangia, but, well, I heard about this. I heard that it was a knockoff of the Trangia, and that people weren't as happy with it. So, I got this instead of a Trangia, because I really wanted to see if the performance of this was that much lower than the Trangia, using numbers that people have put out online for it in their tests for the Trangia, compared to my own numbers of this stove tested at home, at my house, because I have not seen many people do accurate stuff about this specific stove. This is a Chinese thing, so it took a while to ship. Sooner than I expected. Comes with this thing. It looks kind of like a Trangia. Has a simmering like a Trangia. has the ring that you can use to store alcohol in the stove, like Trangia burned basically everything that a Trangia burned. So, it's pretty good stove. Now, about the performance. The performance of this stove will vary greatly depending on the fuel you use to burn it. You do burn in it in the outside temperature. I have gotten wildly different results using multiple different fuels. Well, some different fuels. You might think, oh, you could just dump the alcohol, the rubbing alcohol you get from the store into this and it would work. I have not got good luck with that, because if you'll see, the alcohol you get from the store is only a certain percentage of alcohol. As you can see here, it is Market Basket brand. It is 70% isopropyl alcohol, which makes you think it would burn well, but I tried it. It really does. It really doesn't do too well in my experience. So, as you can see, I just showed you a label for actual rubbing alcohol you get from the store. Now, it's mostly alcohol, so you'd think it works good. But the thing is, the other 30% is just, basically it's water. So, that water creates condensation on the bottom of the pot, which acts sort of like water cooling on a computer or something. So it makes it take longer to boil. I'm not saying it's totally useless. I mean, you can use it if you needed to, but I'm just saying your results may vary, but I haven't got good luck with it. If you want to try, be my guest. I'm not saying you can't use it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I haven't got good luck with it. So, with that, I will move on to the next type of stove. This is another type of stove. As some of you might see by looking at it, this is a MSR stove, liquid fueled. But this is a special stove. This is the universal model. Basically, I'm just going to say it. For me, I bought this stove because I wanted the best stove I could get, and I thought this was it. Paid a whole lot of money for it, and basically, it doesn't perform any better than what an regular or international version of this stove would do. Really, the only thing that's different about the hold on. Sorry, I can't find the adapter that goes on this, but let's tell you about it. The only thing that's really different between the international version and this universal version is the Universal comes with an adapter that can screw onto these types of gas cylinders. There's a nut right there that there's a tool that comes with this that you can put on there and undo the liquid fuel adapter and screw in another adapter that allows you to use the gas cylinders with it. I mean, yes, this would be really good, handy for some people, like some people who are going backpacking that can bring a couple of these with them, and then they have a way to dispose of them. So they have them. My cat. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm filming here, Karina. Can't be here. Sorry about that. You can say hi, Karina. Say hi to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. And for those who know stuff about constellations, she is named after the constellation Carina. Just a fun fact. Okay, back to stoves. Like I was saying, this comes with an adapter that screws onto here. So, a real good thing is it also comes with a stand that allows you to invert this. So, you're actually feeding the liquid gas in this instead of the gas, because this is just compressed and it's liquid and the gas above it, and as the pressure of the gas lowers, the liquid turns into gas, maintaining the pressure in the cylinder until it's all gone. And then there's some left, but the pressure's too low for you to get out. So basically you're throwing away some gas at the end of it. If you use a usual stove that just sits on top of it, like the MSR Rocket or Pocket Rocket or other stoves like that. There is a version of stove called the MSR Wind something. Can't remember the name off the top of my head now, but it looks just like this, only it has just the adapter, not for it to screw into this, not the liquid fuel adapter, which gives you one big advantage, which this stove also has. One big advantage over other stoves that you just screw on the top of this, even though those are cheaper. I mean, not cheaper, like cheaper built, but less expensive. I'm sure everyone who knows what I'm saying. But if I make mistakes, oh well. The advantage is that you can put a windscreen around this to increase the efficiency of it going. And you can also put a piece of foil under this which reflects the heat back up, so it drastically increases the efficiency of the stove. That, and you can also invert the cylinder like this to get the actual liquid feeding out to the stove, which flashes the gas, which burns, which means you can get a better overall emptying of the cylinder, and you're not throwing away a cylinder that still has some gas in it. Now, MSR makes a ton of stoves that use this. Also, companies like JetBoil and places like that. Companies like that. There, you can find inexpensive Chinese brand ones that you just sit on top of it, like an MSR Rocket or MSR Pocket Rocket. And I would go as far as to say I would recommend those, even though I don't have one. If you're the type of person who hikes and needs a light stove that can pack very pack into small space. I'm saying this because even though I haven't owned one of these stoves, I'm saying this because they can literally pack so small you can stick them into a pocket if you have cargo pants like I have. So you're not taking up any room in your pack. Now, if room in your pack is not an issue, like you're just going on a day hike or something, and you're hiking up a mountain, I would recommend this all day. It takes longer to start, it takes longer to break down, takes longer to cool down. It's not like you turn on the gas, you light it, you go. It's not like that. There is a warm-up procedure because the liquid has to be heated to turn into a vapor. And because of that, you need to fill this little cup with fuel to and just light it and let it burn, which is why there's so much soot on it, because it burns yellow. It creates soot. That's just the way it goes. You have to do that. Let it burn for, I don't know, a little while. Let it heat this up. It's basically a copper pipe tube, which the liquid goes through that, gets vaporized into a vapor, and then it burns. And it goes light. It comes out. It basically burns just like a gas would. Really hot and really. It burns really hot. I mean, I'm gonna test the stove later so you can see, but I'm just telling you now. The first time you light this stove, if you've never lit one before, I'm saying this because this happened to me. Some people may be different. But the first time I lit this, because I never had ever lit a liquid-fueled stove in my life before. I watched some YouTube videos so I knew how to do it, because I knew the process was more complicated than lighting a gas stove. So, basically, this part of the stove will get glowing orange. I mean, literally, it produces so much, it gets so orange, you can literally read a book by it. It's like someone just lit a torch there. It produces, well, not too much like that. You can walk like even a foot away and read something with it, but if you're like right by it, you can read stuff in the dark. It gets orange. Now, the stove, it doesn't melt, it doesn't warp, it does turn blue. The metal turns blue because steel does that. When steel gets to a temperature of 500 degrees, it turns blue. It's just a process of, it's just because the chemical properties have changed in the steel, and it gets harder and blue. It does that. Now, my cat wants to go in the house, so I will be back in a minute. Sorry about that. My cat really wanted to go in the house. She's been crawling walking around my legs. Really wanted to go in the house. So, I paused the video and let her in the house. What else can I say? Okay. Back to stoves. Now, as you can see, they sort, when you're packing it up, it will get on your hands. And there is a wick down there that you will have to change eventually. I say eventually because it's fiberglass. It lasts. But, yeah. So, well, this is the third stove I was going to talk about. I mean, MSR has a ton of different stoves. Like, if you're just boiling water and you have to boil it fast, and you have a ton of money to spend, then a stove that MSR puts out called the Reactor is probably best for you. Because it has an actual pressure regulator in the stove, it's a stove that goes on here. And so basically, it lowers the PSI. These things, when it first comes out, it may be 60, and then it goes down and down and down and down. A good trick is to write how many minutes you have burned it for on the canister itself. All I use this for is testing, so I really don't care when it burns out. So that's that. But when the pressure goes down to 5 psi, the stove is made to produce a ton of heat that goes right into the pot that comes with it right at that time. So because of that, it doesn't matter, because cold affects the pressure of these cylinders, it makes the PSI drop. It doesn't matter. If the cylinder is empty, doesn't matter, works just the same. If you're high on a mountain where the pressure is lower, works just the same. Works just the same pretty much all the time. But I'm not talking about that. And I'm getting up on 33 minutes, which is the longest that one video that I'm filming can be. So I'm going to have to break this into 2 parts. This part that I'm filming now will be basically the overview of the stoves, and the next part will be me actually testing them. Actually putting water in a pot, measuring the temperature with a thing, I think it can even fit into the steam release valve port on my pot lid. I will measure out exactly, with this, it's half a cup, exactly 2 cups of water. It's not going to be distilled water, it's not going to be any specific type of water. I know distilled water doesn't really boil, so I can't use distilled water anyway. So I will just be using regular rainwater that I've collected. I will test it. So if you're watching this video because you want to see stoves in action, then just at this point, if you really want to see that, just stop watching this video and skip right to part 2. And at the end of part 2, I'm going to do a really cool test. This is the Fancy Heat. It's methanol gel fuel. It's basically similar to Sterno. It's not Sterno because Sterno is a brand name, but it's probably about the same thing. It's a different color, though. I believe it is. I haven't looked, but I think it's a different color. So I will be putting that into the pot stand of that stove. That's the carrying case holding my alcohol stove. I will be using the pot stand. I have tested it, and those cans are a little too big to fit in where the alcohol burner is, so I will have to like use nails or something to support the pot up above the can. But I'm going to put a Sterno Fancy Heat cans in this, and and see how that compares to just the pure alcohol stove. So, if you like to see that, stay tuned. But I'm coming up on 33 minutes. It's actually 33 minutes and 11 seconds my phone gives me. So with that, I'll say stay tuned for part 2. And for anyone who doesn't plan to stay and watch part 2, I hope this helped. So with that, I'll say have a